Good morning and welcome to the Stalls TV Morning Show. I'm your host, Josh Ellsworth, and I'm excited to have you here today. Make sure you shout out exactly where you're watching from so we know who's joining us around the country or perhaps even around the world. And today, our topic is all about selecting the right product for the job. And we're going to talk about specifically the benefits of getting product produced for you so you only have to heat apply. And custom CAD cut will be the product that we'll dive a little bit deeper on. But before we get to all of that, we want to share this week's looks of the week. We have 4 looks for you today that I wanted to highlight. The first one was submitted by White River Design Company, and the products that you see here are Glitter Flake, Premium Plus, and Hologram. So we get a full background of Premium Plus. This is a great use of mixed media and interesting, combining different looks all at the same time, different bling looks all together. So you usually see Glitter Flake or Hologram. You rarely see them together, and I think this is a nice, tasteful use of using both products together to create this mixed media look 3 layers. So thank you for the White River Design Company for sharing that design. The next one is a tremendous use of one of my favorite design techniques, which is a knockout design. And if you're not sure how to execute this look, where you have the clip art or the image actually punched through the text, but still conforming to the shape of the text, we have tutorials on our Stalls TV YouTube channel that you can watch on how to create this. But I think it's a tremendously cool look because you can still read the text, it's legible, but you get that secondary image of the clip art, in this case a Spiritwear shirt, calling out Panther Pride, and Premium Plus is the product here. So I'm going to guess that Laura, in this case, utilized some techniques with aligning Premium Plus correctly, making sure only to tack the background layer for a few seconds so it doesn't shrink, because alignment on these knockout designs can be tough if you don't have the proper technique. So really cool look submitted by Laura there. The next one I want to share with you was submitted by Audrey, and you can see a couple different things happening here. One is we see a mixed media fashion film 2-layer design. And in this case, I like a couple things about this design. One is you get a really nice left chest graphic placement. So that is a perfect placement. And so Audrey must be experienced, or maybe have a placement guide that she's following along with. But you see a really nice left chest placement on the V-neck shirt. And you also see the use of a name bar on the back of the football player. So it kind of is a different play, I'm guessing, on variable data. So the idea that I can incorporate individual player name and player support through the context of a design. And I believe you even see a logo on the back of the helmet. So some really nice fine detail that you can achieve with fashion film, a really cool look and a really cool use of the background. Laura, we do love your designs. Thanks for sharing them. All right, and our final look is from Carrie. In this case, it's a simple, easy to execute thing, but the artwork really brings it to life with the way the clip art is just a little bit different. And this is from our fashion film electric material, and you can also see a name drop. So the key here that you get across a lot of these looks is personalization, incorporating special effect media types, and you see CAD cut heat transfer vinyl coming to life under a bunch of different ways, and it's the season, right? It's fall, it's the first day of fall, and we are excited for back to school time, which we're already in. Football, basketball is right around the corner. It's the perfect opportunity. It's a buying season for our customers, even as we approach holiday and move that on through. And so we have Miranda watching from South Dakota. Hi, Miranda. We have, oh man, my eyes are getting bad. I used to be able to read this far. We have Windmill Apparel and Promotion watching from Ohio. We have Takaji Wear watching from Vermont. Ken from Tuscaloosa, and I think that says Drea from St. Louis, Missouri. So got a nice crowd on today. A lot of people watching for our episode. We are live, so feel free to chat in questions as you have them throughout. So at the end of last week, I did a couple webinars that lasted about an hour and a half each. We don't have that much time together, but I've taken a section of one of these webinars because it seemed like it really resonated with some of the apparel decorators that had attended. These were particularly startup decorators that were wanting to get their t-shirt business started, but the framework with which we can look at the different ways to print a shirt with the heat press is important even for an experienced decorator. One of the most common questions we get is, what product do I use for this? What product should I use when? And so I would like to do a quick review of what I call our heat printing technology stack, so the core 4 transfer types that you can use, and then also show you a little tool that will help you get to the right technology every time. So we're going to share my screen, and this is a piece of the presentation called Creating Capability. The goal here is to make you as an apparel decorator confident in selecting the right product for the job and knowing which product to select with a very easy framework. So when we talk about the core 4 materials that you can use in your business with your heat press, there's probably 100 different products you can use, but I think these 4 buckets encompass about 95% of the work that you'll do. One is heat transfer vinyl. We've shared some looks earlier, so the Stahls audience in particular is very familiar with heat transfer vinyl. You can cut it on a vinyl cutter, weed out your designs, and apply it. Or you can order it pre-cut from Stahls, which we're going to talk about a little bit about later in the show. But when you look at this product, it's very good for a variety of effects and finishes. You see customers like you utilizing it that way through our looks of the week. It's great for personalization in low quantity. So if I have somebody comes in, they want as little as 1, or they want 6, or they want a dozen, this is a great technology to be able to produce that, and it's on demand. So I can print the order. I have some customers that even operate inside of a mall kiosk that will cut and print to order while the customer stands nearby. Now, some of the weaknesses, although we saw some fine detail today, when you start to get into quantity, it's not extremely great for fine detail. Basically, it's going to cost you the same for 1 or 1,000. That's what little economies of scale means. And additional colors, so as you start to create mixed media designs like we saw in the front of the show, require cost and labor to weed all of those. But heat transfer vinyl is a very good technology that decorators utilize a lot for their business, and we see that category continue to grow across the industry. Now, screen printed transfers, this is another category that is continuing to grow across the industry, and this is basically where we screen print on paper for you from our Transfer Express division. No cutting or weeding required. You order your designs, you receive them, all you need to do is press, and you get the same look and feel as screen printing onto the shirt. And so we like to say the advantages are it's the #1 identified finish. If you're doing screen printed transfers, odds are some of you are even marketing this as screen printing. I like to call it indirect screen printing, so it's just a little twist on that. It is great for fine detail, so you don't have to worry about weeding. Whatever we can pull through a squeegee down through a screen, which includes very fine dot points and splatters and thin lines, you can do with a screen printed transfer. And we're burning a screen for each print, which means we only have to burn that screen once per color. So if you do 100 of these, the cost of that screen gets spread across 100 pieces. So as your order quantity goes up, cost goes down. Of course, the flip side of that is it's not great for small quantities, smaller range of effects, limitations for full color. So that is screen printed transfers. Now, a couple more to hit through, and then I'm going to show you, if you're like, your head's spinning already, you're like, this is the first show I joined in, what in the world is he talking about? This is all going to make sense in a second, but I want to hit the very high level pros and cons of each technology for you. The next is digital transfers. So if you think about it, when we talk about heat transfer vinyl and screen printed transfers, we've talked about single color technology. Yes, I can get a multicolor look, but that means that I have to cut separate layers of vinyl in the case of heat transfer vinyl, or I need to burn 2 screens or 3 screens in the case of screen printed transfers. Whereas with digital transfers, I can print it all. So we're talking about leveraging ink, just like your inkjet printer, where you print out paperwork at home. This is large format inkjet printers that have color that can print down whatever image you want, as many colors as you want, onto a thin heat transfer film. And so it has all of the advantages of heat transfer vinyl with the low quantities, being on demand, etc., with the benefit of the last point there, which is unlimited colors and gradients without the cost. Okay, so you see in the little image there, the full color logo. You see this utilized a lot if you have 3, 4 plus colors in the graphic. And these are digital transfers that you can order from Stahls or Transfer Express, or if you have a printer, cutter machine, you can produce them yourself. And there are probably about 6 different ways to make a digital transfer. My favorite is solvent or eco-solvent inks because you get the durability. If you're just using a desktop inkjet printer, sometimes you don't get the best durability, even though you can do it that way. If you're using a laser printer, sometimes it's a little bit complex on the workflow, and really print cut is what most of the professional shops are using, and you get a lot of benefits from those machines. All right, so hi from Georgia, Denise. South Africa in the house. Christine, thanks for joining us. That's awesome. We got Cheryl from Wisconsin, and does that say Jennifer from Southern Illinois? All right. And then as a follow-up question, as far as finished product weaknesses here on digital transfers, can become heavy without art consideration. So basically what that means, you see that Mifflin Warrior Soccer design, it's going to look and it's going to feel great on that backpack. The odds are that's a denier polyester or denier nylon backpack, going to be no problem. But if I blow that exact design up, make it 8x10 and put it on the front of a t-shirt, it's not going to feel too good. There's not going to be a whole lot of breathability on it. That'd be the equivalent of putting a big block of heat transfer vinyl on the front of your t-shirt. And so that's what I mean, that it can become heavy without art considerations. There are ways that you can take that design, perhaps create some show-through areas, in this case where the red stripes are with the garment behind and where the red is behind the Mifflin word on top of the design. I'd probably cut that away, weed it out so I get some garment show-through. It's going to give you an overall lighter weight feel on the design. So you need to be considerate of the art up front to get the best possible look and feel. So that's what I mean, that it can become heavy without considering that and adjusting for it. One more technology, and this is combining screen printed transfers with digital printing. So I call it digital screen printed transfers. The product name that we sell this under at Transfer Express is called Stretch Litho. And so the advantages of this is it's great for the high detail, just like screen printed transfers. But now I get a cost reduction with quantity because there's screen printing involved. So if I order 500 pieces of a full color image, I'm going to save with Stretch Litho versus just a normal print cut digital transfer. Now, of course, since there is screen printing involved, this is not ideal for low quantity of pieces. So I like to make sure there's at least 20 pieces, probably more like 50, before I start looking at Stretch Litho. And really, I get my basic effect. I get my print. There's not glitter or reflectives or these types of extra finishes that you can achieve with it. But if you have a basic logo, there's small text. I see this utilized a lot for promotional products market. So if I'm doing a left chest company logo, typically there's some small text in design. Typically you have a quantity for a business. Stretch Litho is a great technology, especially when you consider how you can bundle doing a bag with a shirt, with a hat, order a logo size that's going to fit across all of those. That's a tip to help you get to that quantity. So when you think about all of these and you're like, how do I pick each one, keeping all of those details straight, what I want to share with you is like a decision-making matrix is the best way I can put it. It came to me as an aha moment when we were at one of our decorator summits out in Arizona with a group of contract decorators, in this case, that were utilizing all 4 of the technologies. So if you look at this grid, here's what you see. So basically what you want to do is you want to notice, at least on this grid, that all 4 of those decorating techniques that I spoke to are represented here within a quadrant, so to speak, of the grid. What you see across the top of the grid is the number of colors in your design, right? So if you have a 3-color design, you'll go to the 3, and then the garment quantity, or this might be better stated as the logo quantity that's ordered in case you're doing that same logo across multiple different items. And so if you had a 50-piece job, 50 logos needed at 3 colors, it's basically dropping you right here into this sweet spot saying screen printed transfers are the best way to go. And so this is a nice, it's not going to be foolproof, so you can always find a corner case where another solution would be better, but I believe this just simplifies it so much for you, creates that confidence in the capability that it's going to let you get to the right bucket right away, and then you can figure out, okay, what transfer type do I need once I'm at least in the right category of product. And so I'm going to make you play along today. Let's take a look here. Here's a 75-piece order. and it looks like it has 4, 5, let's say 6 colors in the design. So go ahead and type in what technology this would be for. 75 pieces, 6 colors. And I know you guys are on a little bit of lag from when I'm actually saying this. That's how it goes through Facebook Live. So, all right, if you're not playing along, or maybe you're just not, I will have a copy for you guys for downloaded or printing. Full color, yes. So full color screen printed transfers. That bottom right-hand quadrant would be full color screen printed transfers. Let's go to the next one. Whoop, same job. Now 15 pieces. Watch how it changes. So 6 colors, 15 pieces. Now I'm in the digital print cut transfers, right? So we call that CAD prints. In the case of Stahls, that's our product name for a digital print cut transfer. Here's another one since you guys are keeping up with me. 15 pieces. Now we're looking at a single color job. So I'm going to go to the color quantity of 1, slide down to the 15 pieces. This would be best produced with heat transfer vinyl. Whether you cut it or order it cut for you, heat transfer vinyl is the right technology. And so this gives me a good example to talk about the exceptions. So you'll have to keep this in mind. The grid doesn't cover this, but if there was such fine detail in this design that you didn't want to cut and weed it, you're probably going to go to the next best technique, which in this case for a one color design, you would go down on the grid and you would go to a screen printed transfer. But really, this design's no problem for cutting and weeding or ordering it cut, so heat transfer vinyl is the answer. Likewise, if this were a, let's just say, LSU gold, and it had to match that school color, sometimes you're going to have to go to a technology that can do a spot color match. So this grid isn't foolproof, but it will certainly help you. So let's take that same job, and let's call it single color 50 pieces. Here we fall in screen printed transfers. So very easy process. So I wanted you guys to see this. I wanted your feedback on it, see if it will help you in your business. I have a couple more examples here just to show you how it'll kind of flow through the different technology buckets. You can technically create your own grid if you have access to certain products and not access to others. But I think this will help you at least with the technology that Stahls or Transfer Express can manufacture for you with picking the right product. This particular example, 6 pieces, 2 colors, is going to fall right in the heat transfer vinyl wheelhouse once again. And then we go from there. All right, good. So it seems like some of you like it at least, so I'm glad that you do. Hopefully it'll help you. We'll figure out a way. We'll share a link to where you can download it in the thread of this show. I think I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but it's all right. I wanted to get your feedback and see what you thought of this. So now, once you figure out the right category that you're in, really what it comes down to is, am I going to make it, or is someone going to make it for me, or a little bit of both? And that's kind of how I like to put it. We can do it, you can do it all yourself, you can have somebody do all of it for you, or you can do some of it yourself and have someone do some of it for you. So the trend that I'm starting to see is you can cut all your designs, but small businesses are strapped for time. Typically, what happens is you're working late hours, you don't have the time to be cutting and weeding everything, and what cutting and weeding everything does, it leaves you with buying sometimes rolls of products and creating this on-shelf inventory and this excess material that really isn't cost-effective to manage for your business. And so contracting it out completely sometimes takes too much time and you lose control of it. So the Stahls advantage, really, we allow you to be right in that sweet spot where we can produce it for you, and all you can do is heat apply it. All you have to have is a heat press that way. And so this is really going to make sense once you get into quantities of 5 and 10 or more. If you're literally doing 1 or 2 of an item, there's really no good way for us to do that for you. You're going to have to cut it yourself, and that's a good use of your vinyl cutter for that quick turn, low quantity. But the example that I like is you probably stock, if you buy from us, Fashion Film or Premium Plus on shelf. You probably have it in a good selection of colors. Now, what happens when somebody orders a color that you don't have on shelf, or somebody wants a garment that cannot be completed with those products. And so that's a really good first use of our CAD-CUT Custom product line. So in this case, this is a product called Gorilla Grip 2. It's good for nylon. If you sold a job that had 10 nylon jackets, odds are you're not going to want to purchase a yard or a whole roll of Gorilla Grip 2 in the color, because it's going to be sitting there forever unless you make it a regular part of your offering. And so we see a lot of customers ordering fill-in colors or fill-in materials or special effects that they don't want to stock in their business. Reflective's another good one. People don't want to pay for a whole roll of reflective and have it sit there and take up money on the shelf when they can get exactly what they need cut for them. And that's the benefit of this product line. So I did some basic costing just to have some benchmarks of pricing. So a logo like this, it would be 2x3. Basically at 10 pieces, you're talking about $1.44 for a basic finish. If you go up into a special effect or a nylon, it's going to be $1.87. So that'll give you an idea. If you go up to a larger design, so let's say you had a full front design, something like this, that's more like 8x10, 8x12, at a quantity of 10, this is going to cost $5.20 for us to cut it for you. And if you want to add a second color to it, it'll just be an additional $3 at the large design. The small design, it's an additional $1. At a medium-sized design, it's $2. And so that gives you an idea, but basically in that $2 to $5 price point, you can have something completely cut, completely weeded for you, ready to heat apply. And so I'm going to heat apply this stuff and give you some tips there, but I also want to show you the workflow of how to order it. And this particularly is Stahl's pricing that I was quoting, because I'm going to show you Transfer Express too, and there's a way to order Transfer Express through transferexpress.com, of course, and there's an online designer or you can upload your art. But also, Stahl's has its own art uploader tool as well, where you can get stuff cut for you from that heat transfer vinyl category, which is one of the categories not offered at Transfer Express. So basically, when you log into your account, you're going to go right up into the top right-hand corner. You're going to go to this art uploader tool. And it's loading, give it a second. And you're going to be able to browse to attach your artwork. So this is where you get to everything that you would want to order from Stahl's. In this case, I'm going to upload a 2-color piece of artwork. It'll create a thumbnail of that image. I can select, depending on what selection that I landed in when I did that sort of logo analysis that I just showed you, I can select the digital transfer, which is CAD prints, or I can select a custom cut design, or even if you want to get a special effect like flex style, it's all right here. I'm going to choose the custom cut design, since this is just a 2-color image. I'm going to go into CAD cut, which is heat transfer vinyl. Select what I'm applying it to. Let's just say I'm going to apply this on a nylon jacket, and it's going to be a dark color nylon jacket. It's not a split front, and I have a 2-color logo. At that point, I can name my colors. I'm just going to do color 1, and let's get that done out of Gorilla Grip. You see it only shows the material that are recommended for the nylon. And I can select the color that I want in it. In this case, we'll go with metallic gold. And then color 2. I'm going to also do that out of Gorilla Grip, and then I'll be able to select the whatever color it is that I want. In this case, royal. Type in your design size. So if this is a left chest logo, I can do, let's go maybe 5 inches wide by 3 inches high. I'll be able to name the design, MMCS left chest logo, and it will auto-generate a quote for me. So basically, this 2-color design, if I needed to order 10 pieces, would be $286. So that'll send me both colors, pre-cut, ready to heat apply. And so you start to get that idea of what that can cost you. So keep that cost in mind for a second. 10 pieces to 49 pieces is going to be just under $3. Now, just to prove out the grid, I'm going to show you the same thing over on Transfer Express. So I'm going to upload that same piece of artwork. I'm going to drop it onto my screen. Transfer Express does it a little bit different. It actually prompts you to map the colors. In this case, we're going to map the gold to the metallic gold. And then we're going to map the purple to the royal blue that I selected, so same colors. And there is no black, so I'm not sure where it's pulling that from, so I'm just going to say no ink on the black. I must have had a hairline outline around something, but that's okay. I can just map it to no ink. It was 5.5 inches wide. And then really there isn't a transfer that I'm going to be able to use for nylon other than the AquaTrue. But let's just say that we're on a left chest on a polyester shirt. In that case, I would use the ElastiPrints product because I just want to give you a like comparison. It's going on to a dark color fabric. And if I wanted 10, it's basically saying multiple prints of the image at this size will fit on a sheet. The minimum order is 30. So you can see 10 images would be best through Stahls. 30 images, I'm going to be looking at $94.25. So that's going to be a little bit, it's going to be about $3.15 per image. So you can kind of get the idea there. Whereas on the Stahl side, at that 30 image pieces, it was $2.86. Of course, you have to balance with, on the Stahl side, you're going to get 2 separate pieces. You're going to have to press one and then press the other, versus Transfer Express is going to be a single step. But I think it was important to have that comparison because when we look at that grid, and I'm going to go back to that grid for a second, and we look at that 2-color design at a quantity of 25 pieces, that's why we start to land at heat transfer vinyl on that grid. I wanted to kind of prove that to you. And when we go up into the 50, screen printed transfers is going to be the better fit, assuming there's a product choice that will apply to my fabric. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what's available to you under the Stahls and Transfer Express roof with having the work done for you. And the end result is you get the design and all you need to do is heat apply. So let's head over to the heat press and I'm going to show you how to heat apply to this nylon jacket. And I'm going to swap out my platen and move on to a 6x10 inch platen to hit this left chest placement. I love this 6x10 platen because it's great for small bags and those sorts of items, but I use it most often for left chest because when you load this, typically it fits right in between the seam structure of the sleeve and the zipper, so everything falls off perfectly and you get a nice flat pressing area and you can see a lot of it for alignment of your design. So that's how I like to load, right with the collar up into the edge, and then the sleeve right there gives me a nice viewing area. And we're going to preheat this and make sure our pressure is good. Now, if you've never used Gorilla Grip, it's kind of a unique product. It's a 2-step application. It doesn't have a sticky backing, so you'll have to be careful that you don't move it after you've placed it. If you're going to be doing a lot of jobs, I typically recommend you cut your cover sheet in half so you're working with less to lay it on so it doesn't move your design. But you just want to be careful, or you can use the thermal tape, which is a heat-resistant tape to hold it into place. The first step with Gorilla Grip is you're going to tack it for just a few seconds, and then it is a cold peel. And so usually you can keep a baking sheet nearby that's cold to the touch, or you can hold it against, in this case I have the cart, the heat press cart, and so that helps to pull the heat out of it. Then you peel the carrier. With this one, if you are cutting it yourself, make sure you don't cut too deep when you're cutting it because that will create application issues. And then I'll be able to thread it back on. Cover it with a cover sheet and hit it for the balance of the application. So all the instruction sheets will tell you the exact settings, time, temperature, and pressure for your heat press, but Gorilla Grip is really easy to apply. Once you get used to it and you do it once, it just takes that extra step with the cold peel. But when you think about the ability to heat apply onto nylon or polyester, some of these items with it, it's just a really nice, easy product to use. So make sure you check the color offering before you start selling this. I think Gorilla Grip only has about 15 or 20 colors. So you want to make sure you get the color swatches from us so you can start marketing and selling this. It's the perfect time of year to be selling some of this transitional outerwear as we move into fall and on into winter. So Gorilla Grip's a great product for that. So I'm going to see if there's any questions. We like people are human. Yeah, it makes us all feel better. So yeah, it's always good. Everybody makes mistakes. Welcome to our everyday. Yeah. So these are some of the things that happen in your shop. Trial and error. It's important to learn by them. In this case, I learned label the product, test one before you go live on air, or just struggle through it and share that example. Either way, it works. So the goal of today was to give you some tips to select the right product, and then also be able to show you maybe a new product or a new way of ordering product that can help you in your business, especially as we go through busy season. Feel free to ask any other questions that you have, and I'll make sure to keep an eye on this thread throughout the day so we can answer them. Thanks for watching.